Welcome to After Art Review. I'm Jen, your artist and monster buddy, here to share my love of cult films, movies, music, and television with you. This week, I'll be reviewing the Friday the 13th series. Now, before you come for me about sculpting Jason in his hockey mask, I know he doesn't appear in the hockey mask until part 3, but I plan on briefly discussing the entire franchise. Alright, you know the drill, spoiler warning ahead. The first two films are arguably the best in the series, and the original concept of the mother taking revenge on counselors for the death of her son is an interesting take on the male-dominated antagonist of slasher films in the 80s. There are 10 films in the franchise and 2 additional films featuring Jason, including Freddy vs. Jason and the remake of Friday the 13th in 2009. There was also a spin-off TV series called Friday the 13th, which was really unrelated to the films, neither featuring Jason or any other character from the franchise. Let's face it, all of the Friday the 13th films are over the top with death and sex and violence. The first 2 films are a must-watch on my list of summer camp slasher horror films. With the exception of the first movie, they tend to lack substance and got more outlandish as the series progressed. Jason Voorhees was turned into a massive slasher, and he ultimately became a near impervious machete-wielding force. The original film was written by Victor Miller and directed by Sean S. Cunningham. It was released in 1980 and starred Betsy Palmer, Adrienne King, Janine Taylor, and Kevin Bacon. Kane Hodder played Jason in 4 of the films, and he is the most renowned actor to play Jason. The original film has a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb and a 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. Alright, let's break down the franchise. Friday the 13th features an unknown killer stalking teens at Camp Crystal Lake. The counselors are slain as they prep to reopen the camp after a tragic drowning of a camper due to the neglect of a few counselors. It turns out Pamela Voorhees is the killer, and it was her son Jason who drowned in the lake. She seeks to prevent the camp from reopening and goes on a massive rampage. The final girl, Alice, beheads Pamela with her own machete. Jason is briefly shown as a rotten corpse pulling Alice from the boat in one of the final scenes of the film. Part 2 reveals Jason is alive, and he kills Alice from the previous film. He returns to Camp Crystal Lake. The scene where the final girl, Ginny, finds Jason's shrine to his mother is effective and super creepy. Part 3. Jason seeks shelter at a barn after the events of Part 2, and he kills the house guest of property owner Chris. This is the film where Jason finally gets his iconic mask. He is seemingly killed by Chris by taking a machete to the head. Next film, The Final Chapter, picks up where 3 left off. Jason comes back to life and returns to the Camp Crystal Lake and comes across a bunch of teens who are at a lake house. Kills them, then comes across a young Tommy, played by Corey Feldman. Tommy eventually kills Jason, but he has a lot of psychological scars due to it. A New Beginning finds Tommy grown and committed to a mental institution. He is stalked by a copycat killer who takes on Jason's guise. Jason lives. Jason is resurrected by Tommy with a bolt of lightning and a piece of rod from the cemetery gate. Ugh. Eventually, Tommy chains Jason to a boulder and drops him in Camp Crystal Lake. The less I say about this movie, the better. New Blood. Jason is resurrected by a psychic Tina and begins killing teens. This is another kind of forgettable entry into the series. Next up, Jason Takes Manhattan. Jason kills a bunch of teens on a cruise ship. Manhattan is shown for like a second. The film mostly takes place on the ship, then in the sewers, where Jason is defeated by toxic waste. Jason Goes to Hell. I remember seeing the poster for the film and thinking, oh, this looks so cool as a kid. Jason is somehow resurrected and chased by the FBI. He passes on his power via possession and seeks out family members now. Gets killed by his niece. My head hurts. Jason X. Jason is in space. Need I say more? Freddy vs. Jason was a breath of fresh air. Although filled with early 2000s cliches, it was really entertaining. I really enjoyed the Ash vs. Freddy vs. Jason comic series. I would love love to see a film or like a limited series on Netflix or Shudder, maybe. That would be really cool to see all three of those characters team up and fight each other, but it'd have to be Kane Hodder as Jason. Now, let's get into how the film informs the art. I have watched the entire series a few times over the years. I love when they do the Friday the 13th marathon that falls on Friday the 13th. I find part 1 and 2 to be the most interesting of the series, but when you think about it, Friday the 13th is all about Jason in the hockey mask. So I kind of pulled multiple versions of Jason together. I picked the image of a kind of rotting corpse-like Jason from Freddy vs. Jason, and then I went with the solid, iconic, damaged, scratched up mask that appears in the later Friday the 13th films. I enjoy the series. It's full of sex and violence and gore and outlandish kills, so it's very entertaining. Let me know in the comment section below what is your favorite Friday the 13th film. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Jen, and let's keep it spooky, friends.